Alright, what's up you guys? JoDobbi here, back at it again with another deck profile for y'all, and today we're going to be covering my Venom Myotismon deck for the Ex-1 set, and I'm very excited, so we're just going to dive right into it. First things first, we're going to cover the eggs, guys. 4 copies of Sunamon and 1 copy of Demidevi-line. So Sunamon's really great because it just helps you cycle a little bit more. You know, when you trash a card from your hand due to an effect, you get to draw one. Demidevi-line on deletion, you get to pretty much draw one, trash one. So very good for kind of like the more aggressive strategy. And this deck requires a little bit of setup, but not as much as you would think. And I think it has a pretty good matchup against Bond decks. But we're gonna dive right into the rookies now. So for rookies, I'm running 4 copies of Goblimon. Goblimon is a sleeper, and it is a very powerful card, guys. Goblimon reads once per turn. When you trash a card in your hand using one of your card effects, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. So really strong in terms of being able to swing with your level 4s, your level 5s, and it protects the Venom Myotismon, which is the main boss monster of the deck, from being wrecked. So moving on. Next, we are going into 4 copies of Gabumon. Gabumon's really cool. It's the structure deck. When attacking, draw one, trash one. Again, you're really trying to get key pieces in trash while being able to cycle through your deck much faster. I'm going to tell you right now, the level 5s and level 4s do want to swing in this deck if you cannot find your boss. So the Gabumon helps accelerate that further. And now for the first card of the X set that I'm actually showcasing, DemiDevimon. This is a powerful card when used correctly. So it has retaliation, which means a lot of the shenanigans of being able to attack over unsuspended Digimon become a little bit harder for your opponent. So there's Judgment of the Blade by Gazmon, and there is like Zudomon from the X set and Ikakumon from the X set. So you can drop this bad boy early into your turns on the board while having a rookie in raising, and this guy is pretty much safe from being swung over. However, at 2k DP, it's not likely that it will survive doing its own checks. That said, your turn, while you don't have a Digimon with Myotismon in its name in play, you can't actually attack your opponent's Digimon. So it's kind of a nerf to the Demidevimon there because it can't swing into suspended Digimon. But with a Myotismon in its name, you will get to do that and even swing over unsuspended Digimon potentially, which is really cool. Next, we're gonna go into 2 copies of Gazmon. Memory blockers are great. Team Never Spark, you know we love our memory blockers, especially in the Digimon. So you gotta have it. It's very important in the meta right now with all the memory boosts. Next, we're running 4 copies of the Wizardmon, which is amazing. So it has retaliation by default, but its inheritable effect is all your Digimon with retaliation gain rush, which means a lot of like the Demidevimon, once you play them, if you're at 3 memory, if you have a stack off with the Wizardmon, it'll have rush, and that's really awesome. And it's just a really powerful effect, and it kind of replaced Devimon for me. I could possibly go for Wizard 1 Devi, because Devi will be able to like swing over rookies if you have the full stack out like with Myotismon and Venom. But for now, I'm sticking with this because I really want to see Wizardmon in its full effect. We're running the X set Ogremon. So the X set Ogremon is my personal tech for purple against a lot of aggressive rushy decks, particularly like the Agubon and the Gabubon decks. With the Goblimon stack, Ogremon is actually 7k, and his when attacking effect is that you can actually trash a card from your hand to give it security attack +1. 7k with sec +1 is a relatively safe attack right now, considering the meta, so I find that really good. In addition to that, its inheritable effect actually boosts the DP by 2000 once more when attacking when you trash a card in your hand for the level 5s and level 6 slots, which makes it a super safe swing, so very good there. Next, I'm only running 2 copies of Promote, and there is a very specific situation where I would run Promote. So the first situation is when I play Fight with Pride, which is the 4-cost option. So if I'm at 4 memory, I can play Fight with Pride and then bring out Ginkakumon Promote to swing for game. Another thing that I can do is if I don't have the Wizardmon stack, but I do have the boss Venom, if I swing, I can bring out a level 4 Digimon with Retaliation. If it does not have Rush, I can Digivolve over that into a Promote for 2 memory. Or if I bring out a Wizardmon, I can Digivolve over that with the Promote and actually deal some heavy damage there and potentially swing for game. So there's a lot of aggression involved in the level 4 slot, which I think is very good. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Ogremon from BT6. So this is kind of a tech choice that I'm experimenting with right now. If you want to try it, let me know in the comment section below if it's working for you. But Ogremon on play, you may trash a card in your hand to delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. Very good for when you are going second and your opponent just happens to hard drop something on the board and not have a rookie in raising. For example, they're semi-bricked out. You can play Ogremon. Even if they put you to 1 or 2, you're not feeling that bad because it's only a 5 cost to hard drop. In addition to that, Fight with Pride, once again, is a combo because Fight with Pride actually allows you to play any level 4 from trash without paying its cost, and it allows you to resolve any on-play effects. So because of that, you can play Fight with Pride, delete a level 4 Digimon, and if you have a Myotismon on the board already, you can actually apply blocker to any of your Digimon, not necessarily the Ogremon that you brought out. So you can actually apply blocker to the Venom, which has natural retaliation too. So you can easily get pretty wide here, assuming you're not removed turn after turn, like in the SecCon matchups. For the level 5s, we are running 4 copies of the Ex-1 I love this card very much. First of all, the art looks really cool, and during your turn, pretty much reduces the cost of Venom by 1, or anything with Myotismon in its name by 1. So Mallow is reduced by 1, Venom is reduced by 1, and it's pretty strong. 8 cost to hard play, plays around Javolt's Former, and its inheritable effect is insane. So while this Digimon has Myotismon in its name, all of your Digimon with Retaliation can swing over your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. And I think that is super powerful, and I'm super excited to actually try it out. So we'll see what happens. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Skullgreymon, once again for that early aggression. Picture a scenario where you have Skullgreymon, the X-1 Ogremon, and the BT6 Goblimon. That is a Skullgreymon that is swinging for 14k when you trash 2 cards from your hand as a result of Ogremon and Skullgreymon's effects. So you are threatening attacking over a Mega Digimon, a level 6 or even a level 7 Digimon, like for example Millenniumon, from raising from a level 5 slot. So it's hard for your opponent to anticipate that kind of thing, unless they're really worried about it, and most of the time they're more concerned about you just swinging into your security, because Gazmon, for example, will bring out blockers. But if you are able to actually play out Demidevis, and you have Wizardmon and you have Myotismon, they can start swinging over the Blancs, they can start crashing into the CLs, and then leaving Gazmon open for you to swing over. So I think that's really good. I'm running 1 copy of Lady-Devimon and 1 copy of Mummymon. Lady-Devimon is a tech choice when I'm desperate to cycle through my deck, and Mummymon is a tech choice for Mallow Myotismon when I am in the late game or when I really want to gain a lot of momentum. Mummymon has an amazing combo with Analog Boy and Mallow, so I think that he deserves to have a 1 slot just to see how it goes from testing. Next, I'm running 4 copies of the X-1 Venom, which I think is a very powerful card once again. So it has natural retaliation, and when attacking once per turn, you may play 1 Digimon with retaliation from trash without paying its cost. Any on-play effects don't trigger, but I'm not too upset by that. Actually, I'm not upset at all, because all I really want is that stack of the Wizardmon under the Venom. I don't even need the Myotismon, to be honest. But ideally, you have all 3 in the stack, because you can bring out something with Rush, let that Demidevi, for example, crash into a blocker, and then Venom can swing into security or crash over things. So very good effect there. Next, 2 copies of Mallow. Mallow is experimental for me. I'm still testing out how Mallow's gonna do, but I think he's really good. So he has natural piercing and 12k DP, 5 cost to Evo, which is insane. But with the Myotismons, he's only 4 cost to Evo, which is pretty tolerable. And all turns, when another Digimon is deleted, gain a memory. So this is perfect in a retaliation type deck because you're just gaining memory every time you are crashing into things. You're actually gaining 2 memory for crashing into things. And the only thing you're really worried about is your opponent's memory blockers as well. But the beauty about this deck is you can swing over unsuspended memory blockers. So now you're threatening your opponent losing their memory blockers as they're unsuspended, and they tend to leave them unsuspended. Trust me, I know, I play memory blockers. But very good there. Another really cool combo is when you are attacking, you can actually place a Skull Greymon under Mallow Myotismon, and then now you have a Mallow Myotismon that can swing over unsuspended level 4 or lower Digimon, and then piercing would trigger, allowing you to apply significant pressure and gaining more memory, which I absolutely love. And yeah, we're gonna test it out and see how it goes. 1 copy of Zort Defeat because why not? You know, I had 1 slot open available and I figured 1 copy of Zort Defeat does not hurt. And it's just a very powerful card overall. You can trigger a bunch of different things with Zort Defeat like Deathclaw to maximize the Mallow Myotismon potential or to maximize just big damage on your opponent's side of the board and, you know, hopefully gaining momentum from there. 1 copy of Matt Ishida, and then I'm running 3 copies of Analog Youth. So Analog Youth is the strong one in this deck because when you're swinging with your level 5s like Skull Greymon, if they end up dead, that's fine. You can double tap, triple tap the Analog Youth, gain 3 memory, punishing your opponent or capitalizing on your swing in order to kind of like build up in raising. You can even hatch an egg as well. As long as the Digimon has Digivolution sources, you're good. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and then trash the rest. So it's very good for building up your Mallow engine and for trashing some Demidevis there in order to bring them out later through Venom. The Mat is here because I find Mat really important. Mimi is great in decks like Titamon, but in this specific deck, I think seeing the Mat and staying at 3 memory is really good, but I couldn't get myself to put Mat at 2. 3 copies of Fight for Your Pride, and this card I absolutely love. So main phase, play 1 level 4 lower Digimon from your card, from your trash without paying its memory cost. Then if you have a Digimon with Myotismon in its name, one of your Digimon gains blocker. So you can bring out a Wizardmon that has retaliation and give that blocker. If you have a Myotismon out, you can play the Ogremon, which is really cool because you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon and give something else blocker, so they're kind of having to swing twice as much next turn in order to deal with your security. It's just a very good card. So you can play this card very aggressively as well, because one thing you can do is end your turn with Fight for Your Pride, preventing your opponent from swinging with their boss monster if you're putting it on a retaliation Digimon, right? And then capitalizing next turn. If they end up swinging anyway, you can tap all of those analog boys and really build up next turn and punish your opponent by taking away a lot of their memory for crashing. 1 copy of Deathclaw. I'm still iffy on this. I might not actually keep it. I might put it for another analog boy or maybe just a Digimon to add consistency. But it can turn on a lot of really cool effects with Mallow Myotismon. Especially when I don't have Rush on my Retaliation Digimon when I'm bringing them out. I can at least bring it out so I can Deathclaw it in order to delete a level 4 or lower. 1 copy of Purple Memory Boost. I only run the 1 because I find that I'm fine with 3 copies of Analog Boy. In addition to that, Memory Boost has kind of actually not been as good for me because it's 3 costs to play and sometimes you whiff and you're sending things to the bottom of your deck instead of trash. Glaive Memory Boost, on the other hand, doesn't feel as good because you need to get something from your trash, which means you have to trash things in the first place, which means if you open with Glaive early, it's not the best card to have. So Purple Memory Boost is what I'm running just for the additional search when I'm kind of bricking out. And lastly, 2 copies of Win Rate 60%. I'm experimenting with Win Rate, might just keep it a 1 and add another boost. We'll see what happens. But Win Rate's really clutch because if I can use Win Rate and then play out the ability to Digivolve into Mallow Myotismon, ultimately it would cost 2 memory to digivolve into Mallow, because when you have the Myotismon, it reduces it by 1, and then win rate reduces it by 4. So Mallow becomes free, with the exception, obviously, that you're paying 2 memory to play win rate. But very good card because it works directly for Purple's ability to want to put things in trash and use its trash. So yeah, cool things. That said, I hope you guys really enjoyed the deck profile. Sorry for the really bad quality. I'm working, like, it's a little awkward. Like, the focus has not been as good, but I'm working on that. Hopefully it'll look better moving forward. But thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and have a good day. Peace.